Your words are more powerful than anything that I could say because they're you and it's genuine. So this is last year, July 2022.
Okay.
Dear Jen, when I want to give up, I want to be reminded how far I have come. I am stronger and healthier than I have ever been, and I'm still growing. One bad day doesn't mean I failed. It means I'm human, and remember to refocus. Future me, you did this for yourself, but also for your son. You need to remember that he relies on you and he looks up to you. Diet set you up to fail. A healthy lifestyle is how you succeed. The qualities that excite me are watching my son grow and be able to do all of the things I wasn't able to do 5, 10, 15 years ago. The feeling of accomplishment when I reached the top of my first high peak after never hiking a day in my life. The feeling of excitement when I went cross country skiing for the first time. I have several health related issues, but I don't want my weight to be one more thing. I want to enjoy my days and not worry about every piece of food I put in my mouth. I don't want to feel guilty for that piece of pizza or that peanut butter cup. I want to share with my family at special occasions and be happy with how far I've come, which is so cool. So cool. Who is the person I want to be in 3 to 6 months from now? I want to be the person who can be in any situation and feel comfortable making the right food choices without feeling guilt or shame. That was so huge for you.
Yeah.
Your perfect day. I am focusing on the tasks at hand. I want to get up, go to the gym in the morning, have breakfast with my son, go to work, and not worry about what each meal will bring. I want to get through a day without tracking everything I put in my mouth and stop binging at night. If I stress less about food, I could rest easier at night. For fun, she does whatever she wants. She can pick any high peak and hike it at her leisure, but know what is best to pack to fuel her body properly. She doesn't have to worry about where the closest bathroom is or who will know how much pain she is in internally. She values family, trust, and respect. My life will be different because she will be able to set boundaries with herself, her friends, family to eliminate the negativity and judgment. The words I need to hear when I want to give up are how far I've come and I'm my own worst enemy. I need to get out of my own way to be happy.
I mean, honestly, I feel like I have come so close to all of that, if
I
not
completely
exceeded it.
agree.
Not the same person I was in so many ways for so many
Yeah.
reasons. I mean, as a whole, I'm a better person than I was a year ago.
Which is such a short amount of time in the big picture, also, where it feels like, wow, a year is a lot, where it is. But what you've gone through in the past year, but also how much you've grown is exceptional. And also what you visualized as success also evolved in a different way, maybe than you thought that it would look.
Definitely did. And, it's just because I didn't let these huge events take over for long periods of time. I hit a road bump or whatever it was, and then took 24, 48 hours, piled myself, and got right back on track. Because if I just let all the emotions and all the exterior stressors take over continuously, I was going to be in the same place that I was 2 years ago, where I felt sick all the time and I couldn't eat half the foods that I can eat now. And to be able to go out anywhere, even to a restaurant, to go out to eat and not have to worry about feeling super sick afterwards or going to the bathroom and where is the bathroom. I know my body so much more in tune with my body and what it's going to do and what it needs. Something I've never had before. I had the nutritionist through my surgeon's office. They weren't listening to me. I'm like, that doesn't make me feel good to drink breakfast, lunch, and all of my snacks in between and then try to have dinner when half the food I was eating for dinner I couldn't digest, and it would just, continue to make me sick. And they weren't listening to me as a person. They were just doing what they do with all of their patients. And I can't fault them for that. They have hundreds of patients and they see them all as the same. Even though we've all had the same type of surgery, it doesn't mean that we all process everything in our bodies are all the same.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you were drinking a lot of foods,
Hmm.
under eating solely because you were uncomfortable more so
Yes.
than anything and felt like you couldn't digest things. What do you feel like your experience was or that transition point?
Just having you slowly incorporate things and see what I could tolerate, and slowly adding back in whole foods in meals for breakfast and for snack. And it wasn't all at once. It was like, okay, let's first start with not having our coffee first thing and let's try to eat breakfast together. And, I did that and it kind of snowballed, like having fresh fruits almost every single morning for me now. Whereas I didn't eat fresh fruit or fresh vegetables for the better part of 10 years. And I thought that was normal. I was like, well, I'm just, not gonna, I'm gonna drink my fruits and vegetables through these greens that taste absolutely terrible. But it was the ability to add things slowly.
And you are also eating meals as a family together, which you weren't.
Yes. So having dinner together and only having to cook one meal.
And just feeling so much more in control of your choices, of food, of what you want to have, and also leaving what you don't.
It's been incredible. I'm no longer tempted just because the girls that work around me are ordering whatever it is that they want. I no longer feel like I have to be included. It's like, no, I'll get my lunch, I'll eat with you guys. And we just sit there and have conversations, and it's great. It's the food is no longer the centerpiece, the people are.
Mm.
Um, Even though food brings so many of us together. I mean, we have our Sunday dinners, and my mom is really trying her hardest to kind of shift them. But after being honest with her and having the strength to say to her, I don't want to eat this heavy meal every Sunday, and then offering to help to bring something and to give options. And she'll ask us every couple of weeks what we want to have. And that's just huge because it takes the pressure off of me from feeling like I have to eat that. And then knowing I'm going to be uncomfortable to going in and saying, it's going to be okay.
So your whole family has benefited, and they're also listening to you and
Yes.
acknowledging what's going to support you, and everybody's benefiting. And then you've traveled a bunch, you've had a lot of occasions and social events. That's completely different. What do you feel like has been different with that part?
It took me some time to really understand that I don't have to eat out every meal. I can make things work even if I can't cook. Making substitutions for what I would normally have to something that still feels like a guilty pleasure kind of, but doesn't have the unnecessary fried or oils and all the other stuff that just at the end of the day I know now is what was making me feel so gross.
Yeah, it was almost like you were getting all that stuff in at once because you were so restricted the other parts of the week of your life. Essentially, when you were traveling, it was like, oh, I never have these things. So it was the overconsumption almost of them that was making you feel uncomfortable, and then leading to that restrictive behavior in a sense too when you got home because you felt so uncomfortable.
And I was angry with myself for doing it, and I was punishing myself for
Mm.
every outside of the box or what I thought was so bad. And now it doesn't put me back anymore. I don't punish myself.
And even in the spectrum of foods that you really couldn't digest, now we're down to like one thing that really, really is uncomfortable for you.
Yep. For me, it was always just, I say to you, mindlessness. Like I just go and I grab the candy, or I go and grab that. And if it's not in front of me, I don't think about it. So I don't need it.
You're planning ahead, you're just being intentional because you know how much of a difference it makes with your evenings.
It makes the whole day completely different. And then it evolves into the next day. I mean, if I have a
Right.
crappy day or if I don't feel good, the next day I'm going to wake up and be sluggish and not want to do things. And not every day is perfect. And,
Mhm.
I've just really taken the time to let myself know that it's okay not to go for that walk this morning if you need that extra hour of sleep. It's
Yeah.
okay to go to bed a little bit early.
And then just getting through a lot of emotional, personal stress this past year. What do you think has been most helpful for you?
Knowing that I can feel those feels. When Mark's dad passed away, I felt like I had to do everything in hiding, and I felt like I really couldn't be me, and supporting myself by continuing what I had been doing. I didn't let my emotions go backwards significantly to either not eating at all or to overeating. There was a couple of mornings where I didn't feel like eating breakfast. Like you just, your
Yeah.
emotions are taken over. But I knew instantly, you could feel the sense to binge later on was there. So it was like, I don't like that feeling. I knew it. So I made sure to not go there. I am fairly certain that if I didn't have the tools at hand or the ability to know how good my body felt from eating so many good foods, that I would have probably just not eaten for weeks and then just binged every couple of nights because I've done it before. And I know, that's what my brain would do previously. But now it's nope, we want that food. We need that wholesomeness. We need to keep functioning. If I had given up, things would have turned out a lot different for Mark and how well he's processed. We all had to be there for each other. And I knew that I was the better form that I had ever been, probably the best I've ever been. It was like good timing, I guess, not that anybody wants anything terrible to happen, but when it did, it made it easier for me. And I think in turn made it easier for the rest of the family too.
Wow, that was beautifully said, Jen. You were just so aware of like your old patterns that you knew were not going to serve you at that point. But the difference now is awareness. You're so much more aware of what supports you. And when
Yes.
you do recognize like kind of being pulled back in those old easy habits, that comfort zone, you can move through that feeling so much faster.
It was, a couple hours to a day, maybe. It was never a long term thing. And I stopped punishing myself for that. Just pick up where you left off. There's no reason to start over or be super restrictive for any reason. Just pick up where you left off and keep moving forward.
You're so much nicer to yourself.
But it makes me happier too. I'm just overall a better person because I'm not angry with myself and internally beating myself up because I did it for years and years. I felt like I had this persona to maintain and to keep everything that I thought I knew was right. Like working out every morning at 5 a.m. The past 4 weeks, even though things have been absolutely crazy, I feel great.
Mm.
I move my body every day in one form or another. And it just, because it looks different on paper, it's what works for me right now.
You're so much more in tune with what you need and you're responding to what that is, but you also know it doesn't have to look the same way forever and ever. You can go back to certain things with seasons, with schedules, but you're just listening to that, which is the best gift that you can give yourself. What would you say to someone that's hesitant to taking the step for themselves?
Everything that you think isn't always right. Everything we see around us is diet, diet, diet. And we just form to it. Even with the gym, like you've got to work out, you've got to do all this cardio, you've got to do all this weightlifting. And in the interim, it feels good, but the long term effects of it have been harmful to me. Having someone to support you and kind of guide you through and break those habits for you is what I needed. And that's what you gave me. You gave me the ability to see another side of things and to not just stop and change everything, but slowly make that progression until it just becomes your new normal and your new everything.
Mm-hmm. And what that meant to you was the most important thing, though, is that this evolved how it needed to for you, not how should look a certain way or how I, thought it should be. It's like, okay, what's working? What can we adjust? How do you feel? What can we do differently? So now you're making these own decisions for yourself also.
You never told me what to eat or what not to eat. You never told me to work out on certain days and do certain things because my schedule doesn't allow me to have to do certain things every single day. If something didn't work, we tried the next thing. The first couple of weeks were really a trial and error. And in the first week, it was just do your normal. Let's see where you are. Let's get a baseline of how you feel. And that way, as moving forward, going from 6 hours of sleep to a consistent 8 hours of sleep. And I haven't slept a full night, for 5 years plus. And now that 8 hours is my sanctuary. I need it. I want it. It feels great. But you have to go to bed here. Let's try different bedtimes. Let's create a routine that works for you and your family and what your dynamics look like.
And thank you for being open-minded. You were so good about listening and trying things and seeing how it felt. And if it, not being attached to like, okay, if this didn't work, we can try this. And you also were open-minded to do those things, which made such a difference.
I think going into this, I wasn't ready to be open-minded. I didn't know what to expect in the beginning, which, I started short term. I think it was like 3 months in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And within the first few weeks, I was like, I need more of this. You have so much to offer in so many different ways. And it was more than I could have even imagined. I was like, all right, she's going to tell me what foods are good for me. But somewhere along the lines, I already know that. But I just think my body can't handle them. So we're just going to drink liquids 3 times a day and try and shove some chicken in our mouths at the end of the day. Like that's in reality, that's what my life was for years. And now it's taking the foods that I love and just modifying them. I mean, the reduction in dairy to my diet has been incredible. Like I love my cheese. We know this. I love my
Mhm.
cream and my coffee, but
Mhm.
to be able to know in advance, okay, I'm having this richer dinner, so let's lighten up breakfast and lunch.
Yeah, just being more mindful, more intentional, more thoughtful of adjusting the day as a whole of what you actually enjoy and what you value. Like those are the foods you love. So let's make it work within the day. And each day and each weekend can look different. Thank you. It's big stuff.
I know that I am in a completely different mind. I'm capable of so much more than I ever thought, just physically and emotionally.